The menstrual cycle and dieting. Are they linked? Are there any key considerations that you need to know as a female athlete? Well, time to find out. Let's go. Hi, I'm Alex, Sports Dietitian Nutritionist. Welcome to my channel. Great to have you here. So we always get too bogged down in the calories, the macros, the this, the that when it comes to nutrition. We actually forget the importance of understanding the physiology of the body. And this is particularly the case for females where hormonal balance and menstrual cycle will play a part when it comes to their overall results, when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to training. And that's why I want to do this video, a bit of a very basic overview, but a fundamental overview of things that you may need to know when it comes to the menstrual cycle and the link it has to potentially your dieting efforts, in particular if you're trying to lose weight, so to speak. But it applies nonetheless, no matter what goals you have, because the considerations are universal. And it's something for you to just kind of look at and see how it relates potentially to your situation. Because again, you are individual, everyone's unique. So the way this impacts you or doesn't impact you will obviously vary depending on that as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's actually talk about the menstrual cycle, the potential link to training and dieting, and some key things that you may want to consider going forward. The class commences now. So first, let's break down the menstrual cycle. So to keep it easy for this, and even though everyone's will be different, let's just use the standard 28-day period that we use and just say that, split between the middle, 14 days, that's when ovulation occurs. Now, in the first half of the menstrual cycle is known as the follicular phase, and the second half is the luteal phase. Now, what will happen, and I'll put a diagram somewhere up on the screen for you to visually look at, is during the follicular phase, you will have your estrogen go up, and then peak around when ovulation occurs. The other hormone that's important here, and though there is a couple others, but I'm not going to talk about these, progesterone, which will kind of peak to, kind of midway between the luteal phase and then dip down towards the end. So now that we know the basics of how the kind of general menstrual cycle will look like, let's talk about the key considerations and some things you may have noticed yourself about how these different phases and hormonal balances can actually impact you. So first, let's talk about the follicular phase. So the follicular phase, what you'll notice is that during that period, you might actually feel your best. You might feel your strongest. You might feel your fastest. And in fact, going towards when ovulation occurs, you might actually find that that's when you're hitting your personal best, feeling the strongest in the gym, feeling the best on the field, on the court, whatever it may be that you're doing that's physical, you might feel that you're on top of the world from a performance point of view, comparably to maybe other times. In other words, you feel like your performance and your strength is the highest in that first phase of the menstrual cycle and peaking around ovulation. So obviously from a training point of view, if this is the way you find it impacts you, then you may want to consider, okay, how am I training during this period? Am I really focusing on doing my best here? Am I really focusing on hitting some new records and all that sort of stuff? That's some things for you to consider. But again, I'm not an exercise professional, so obviously get your advice for specific exercise regimens and all that sort of stuff from like an exercise physiologist, someone who's qualified to give you that advice. All I want you to know is that you feel your best during that first half of the menstrual cycle, and that's when you're going to feel like the dieting efforts are the easiest. So from a dietary point of view, your efforts, especially if you're trying to lose weight, when we know it's not fun, okay, let's be honest, it's going to be the easiest during that period of time because you're just going to be in a bit more of a cruise control, for a lack of a better word, comparably to potentially what we're about to talk about for the second half or the luteal phase. So now let's get into the luteal phase. So now what happens is you'll actually notice that towards the end of the luteal phase, you'll notice cravings start to increase. You'll notice that you're feeling a bit more irritable, your mood's impacted. There might, some women also unfortunately experience depression. There's also going to be increased cravings, as I said, which from a nutritional point of view, the biggest link that we can see. And essentially, we're talking now about the premenstrual syndrome, or PMS, as you would know. And because of that, you're actually going to feel like your energy is going down, your performance is going down. You're not going to feel like yourself comparably to what you maybe felt like in the first half, the follicular phase. And because of that, you'll notice that dieting efforts become harder. As I said, cravings are a big thing for many women, okay? And that's because, in fact, your metabolism towards the end of the luteal phase could be in the upwards of 200, 300 calories more. So therefore, maybe giving yourself, this is a consideration, maybe giving yourself like a little snack of 200, 300 calories, that's just generalized, it will be different for you potentially, could actually help you with your dieting efforts because it'll make it less of a burden. It'll be less likely just going to suddenly fall off and then just kind of binge on food. And that's why it's just a consideration you want to make, is that maybe go easier on yourself during that part of the phase, because you will be feeling potentially more hungry. Your metabolism will be going up a bit. And because of that, there are some nutritional things that maybe you can do or consider if that you are in the camp that is impacted in that way. From a training point of view, again, I'm not going to give specifics because it's not my domain, but essentially from what the gist of it is that your training will potentially be impacted. You got to focus maybe on different things when you are feeling like you're not quite yourself, just from a safety point of view. So this is just some things to kind of think about. Now, with all this said, when you actually look at the evidence, there actually is some research to support the fact that while there might be some changes that we observe and some considerations we're going to make with training and nutrition during the menstrual cycle, there's some evidence to suggest that it's not as significant as we thought. But what I like to say is, doesn't matter what that says, that helps kind of guide us and helps give us info. But the fact of the matter is, for years of working with many female clients, I've seen firsthand how they've told me, I've impacted this way. My weight's just suddenly dropped or peaked around here, or it's just moving around erratically here, or I'm craving more there. It's just going to be individual to you. So what I want you to do is use this information from this video today, this very lame, basic kind of explanations that I've given. Use that to kind of guide you and help you think, okay, does this sound familiar to me? Okay, do I feel like this is how I'm being impacted? And if so, now you not only understand yourself a bit more, which awareness is always going to be key. It helps kind of make you more effective with what you're doing. But most importantly, it helps alleviate your mindset, okay? Alleviate your mindset so you don't feel as stressed thinking, what's going on? So hopefully it gives you that information. But then two, hopefully it gives you some insight in terms of maybe how you can consider your dieting efforts. Do you maybe more strictly diet during the first phase, the follicular phase, and then maybe go to maintenance during the second phase to make it easier for yourself? Do you maybe just try and do it the whole way through because you notice that you're not really impacted that much? Do you maybe just do your dieting as much as you can, but then give yourself more leeway towards the end of the menstrual cycle just before menses and give yourself a little bit more calories there for snacks, or any other kind of considerations that maybe you've grabbed from what I've talked about? That's what I want you to do with today's video. I really want you to just think about your situation. How does it apply, and what can you do going forward? Now, of course, doing it alone, you don't get any brownie points. So if you do feel like you need to have help with this, please reach out. Okay, as a sports dietitian, I've helped people work through their diet in all different avenues of their life, in all different phases, in all different kind of menstrual cycle influences and hormonal balances, all this sort of stuff. If you want to take out the guesswork, let me know, reach out, we'll have a chat, see if I can help you. All of that is in the description notes below. So find the details, contact me, and we'll go from there. Now what I want you to do is I want you to comment below and let me know, did anything resonate with you from what you've learned today? Did anything kind of sound familiar? Let me know in the comments below. As always, hit that like button, show it some love, so I know this video has been bringing you value and it's helped you out, give you some more new information and perspective. And as always, stay classy, have a good one, see you later, bye.